All right. Hello and happy new year, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome, everyone, to Final Sight's Best School Websites of 2025. We're going to be taking a look at some of the outstanding website designs and content and user experiences of the websites that launched with Final Sight over the last year. And we certainly have a lot to explore and celebrate today. And we're going to get started in just a couple moments as we for a few more folks to join us live. So I see a few folks hopping into the chat, letting us know where they're joining us from today. Hello, Wisconsin. I see New York. I see Illinois. Hello, Canada. Good to see everyone. Welcome. Hello, Mexico City. Hello, New Jersey, Massachusetts. Wonderful. Well, my name is Connor Gleason, and I'm just outside of Philadelphia this morning. I'm part of the Final Sight team here. Just a couple of housekeeping reminders that this webinar, it's going to be recorded and shared out with all the resources. So feel free to kind of sit back and relax. If you need to step away, no worries. We're going to send you all the notes and links afterwards for you to look through. But I am not alone today. I'm lucky to be joined by some of my pals here at Final Sight. They're going to help me out and share some of their favorite designs. I want to welcome Janine Richardson. She's the Director of District Outcomes. Hello, Janine. Good morning.
Hello. It's so nice to be with everyone today.
And we're also welcoming Meredith Kaplan. Hello, Meredith. She's the Director of Client Success for our global market. Good to see you.
Hello. Happy New Year.
And last but not least, you know, I'm Anthony Tata. Hello, Anthony, you're Director of Client Success and Independent Schools here at Final Sight. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Connor. Grateful to be here and grateful for everyone in the audience who's participating today. I'm looking forward to learning together as we do this webinar.
Perfect. So why are we here? Let's take a look at the roadmap today. What are we going to be talking about? You could be answering emails. You could be out there on recess duty, but we're glad you're here with us today. We're going to talk about what makes a great website. Maybe it's the content or how the visuals pair with the messaging. Maybe it's the user experience on that site. Or maybe it's how the school uses some of the latest features to support folks in their experience. And we're going to be showcasing some of the best sites across public school districts and charter schools and private and independent schools around the world. So we're going to take a look at how the goals of each can really inform the design and the aesthetics and the messaging of the site. And then last but not least, we're going to be taking a look at some of the trends and some of the strategies that are going to be shaping website design this year in 2026. And we're going to be sharing inspiration for your next redesign, maybe some quick updates and tweaks you can make right now. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about goals and resolutions. It's that time of year when we get to set some benchmarks for ourselves, and maybe that's making healthier choices, or maybe there are some books on your reading list you want to get to. Maybe it's spending more time with friends and family, but we're going to launch a quick poll here. Think about some of your professional goals and what you hope to accomplish this year in your role. So maybe you want to be focusing more on your messaging and presenting a clearer story. Maybe you're hoping to help families find what they need faster. Maybe you're thinking about ways to boost engagement and communications with families. Maybe this is the year that you're finally going to hunker down and get more involved with reporting and understanding enrollment data better. We always talk about making more data-informed decisions. So let's take a moment here and see where some of our focus is for 2026. And Meredith, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you have a resolution this year? Do you have any goals for 2026?
Yeah, you know what? I just actually, well, this is a plug. I posted on LinkedIn yesterday and just thinking about this. And there was an article I read that Strava, you know, the fitness tracking app, they call the second Friday of January Quitters Day because everyone puts their resolutions, and the gyms and the jokes about you go to the gym and then you quit after the first week or so. So we're all ahead and we're all going to hit our goals before tomorrow, which is kind of Quitters Day. But for me, my goal would be to kind of read more, and a plug to my son who was to eat more chocolate. So I think between the two of us, if we either read more while eating chocolate, I think we're in good stead here.
Perfect. I love that. And we got a lot of goals this year. I see some are looking at their site, others want to improve their communications. I love the positivity, and we are here to help you with those goals. We probably can't help you train for that 5K maybe, but if you are looking to strengthen your school's marketing or your messaging or your communications, whatever your goal is, we're here to help. And I take that back. Tata, you're going to help folks start and run that 5K this year. Folks, feel free to DM him. He'll be right over, and you can start that training.
Totally. I'll be cruising along on my bicycle alongside, while you're running hard. But no, seriously though, Final Sight is here to help, but also Final Sight's community of users is here to help each other. Just as student outcomes are improved when the school has a really strong community, so will the schools who use Final Sight, be more effective with Final Sight's platforms if we have a strong, community of users helping each other, learning, from each other. So to that end, there will be a number, of community building, events organized by Final Sight. Webinars like this one today, as well as in-person events. We're doing probably at least 24 regional workshops in the United States, and then even more internationally. There's going to be a Final Sight University in Thailand with Meredith's team in March, and highly recommend Final Sight University in Chicago this June. Great opportunities for community building and learning from each other.
Sure, we can definitely help with those goals this year. And if we take a look back at 2025, Final Sight was busy. We sent over 4.8 billion, that's billion with a B, messages through Final Sight's communication tools. Our AI-powered chatbot, Ask AI, answered more than 500,000 questions from users. And we had hundreds of thousands of applications submitted and processed and returned through Final Sight enrollment. And we certainly launched a lot of beautiful websites, over 1,100, and we earned more than 60 design awards, and they continue to come in during your first few weeks of the year. So I want to keep those goals in mind, but I want to also talk about what makes a great website and what you can use as inspiration as we go forward into this year. And I think it's interesting how much emotion comes into play with websites. And I feel like when a school website works, you can feel it. Things are easy to find, the story is clear, parents are satisfied, and the site really starts to earn that sense of trust. So no matter your type of school, I think the best sites tend to kind of nail the same core pillars. And that really starts with navigation, right? And a navigation that matches the user's needs, not necessarily your internal org chart. So it helps people get where they need to go without thinking too hard. So a menu that's simple, things are well labeled, you have those high use tasks, they're always close by. So enrollment, calendars, contact information, those lunch menus, the latest stories and news. And the homepage, it kind of acts like a launch pad to that user experiences. So there's those clear next steps. And because if a family can't find something in just 1 or 2 clicks, they're either going to call or they're going to leave the site, and both are avoidable. So storytelling is how we really start to build that confidence. And I think the best sites start to show who that school is and then can back it up with proof. So that message, it feels specific. It shows what this community is all about, what it values, and how students grow here. And you see those proof points start to show up naturally. You see the signature experiences, you have alumni stories, highlights from your staff, and it feels authentic, right? That tone matters, being confident, being welcoming, and you have that consistency across pages, and it feels alive, right? You want your site to reflect what's happening today, right now. So you spotlight those events and those news stories and alerts, and the site makes them simple for the team to kind of keep updated and maintain. So you want that site to act as that source of truth. You don't have 5 things living in 12 different places. So, even those small signals, they start to matter and they add up. So you never want someone to land on your site wondering if that info is outdated. And we always talk about mobile first, right? It's really how people experience your site these days. So the buttons and menus, they're thumb friendly, the layouts, they're scannable. You see those actions close by. It's easy to inquire or register or contact someone. And think about it, if it's hard to use on a phone, it's going to be too hard to use on a laptop or a desktop. And then accessibility and language support. Those, again, are the signals that the school has really thought about every family. So the pages and the site, they work well with screen readers and accessibility devices. You see translation tools helping reach multilingual communities, and international schools support those families from across the globe. And accessibility, it benefits everyone because it's about inclusion and confidence. And when a site is accessible, families feel supported even before they speak to someone. And again, that builds towards that sense of trust for families. They can answer that question, can I rely on this place? Is information and resources, are they easy to find? Information about leadership, it's clear in its current policies, safety information, documents, they're accessible and they're well organized. Again, truth is built through those little moments. So as we tour these sites, I think it's important to think about first impressions, and we know that they happen so quickly. We have that gut reaction almost instantly. They say under 50 milliseconds, that split second reaction, it influences whether someone continues to explore or just bails out. So your homepage, it is that welcome moment, but if it's confusing, if it's cluttered, if it's outdated, it's going to lower those expectations for everything that comes next. And we see that sense of credibility, it is based on how a site looks at first, but design, it can't win all by itself. I think credibility and design are linked, and that sense of credibility, it rises when the site is easy to use and it's useful to that family or that parent. So the goal is a site that looks sharp and helps people complete the tasks and what they need to do quickly without hunting. And so site has to do a couple different things. It's got a few jobs here. And before we get into the examples, I want to look at what a site is responsible for, because they usually aren't built for just one audience. We have a lot of folks to think about. We have current families and staff. It really is a daily tool. They're going to be there checking the calendars and the lunch menus. They're looking at handbooks. They're looking at alerts and answers for their quick questions that they have. And we really want to start thinking about sites as kind of like a customer service opportunity, making those paths really clear, having those updates be reliable and current, and really want those resources organized around what they're trying to do. And for prospective families, again, we talk about how it's kind of the first visit for them. So it needs to really communicate if it's a good fit for that family, what makes the school different, and how to take that next step. And so that means strong storytelling, calls to action, and start building that sense of confidence as they move from curiosity to start taking action. So we see a lot of schools in this example take advantage of quicker ways to kind of share that information, share that story, and help with that user experience. And transparency and credibility again. So thoughts about leadership, reputation, board information, policies, strategic plans, ways to get involved. Again, those are trust signals that should be easy to find. And I think the website really should support that reputation and just not its messaging and communications. So ask yourself, here's a quick little test I like to see. Spot what's working and what might need a little help. So pretend you're a parent, you've got 60 seconds on your phone, you're juggling 1,000 different things throughout the day. Look on your homepage and ask yourself, where does a new family start? Where would they get a sense of what's happening and when? And what is the school communicating? What is it sharing? And how current is that information? And who would you reach out to if you have a question? So ask yourself, can you do all of these things with one phone, with one thumb on a phone? Right? If your menus are too tiny, if your buttons are too close, if that information is buried, that experience is going to break down fast. And as we walk through the sites here, kind of keep that test in the back of your mind. And I think you'll notice some of the strongest examples make those things feel really easy. So I'm going to pass things off to Janine now, and she's going to walk us through some of these examples. Janine, I know you work closely with a lot of districts out there. What are you seeing over the last year or so, and what are some of those things that make these sites really stand out to you?
So I'm super excited to get ready to share some of these district spotlights. But before I do, and just thinking about that question, Connor, the different types of things that I'm seeing, it's extremely focused on making sure that we're delivering results beyond just the aesthetics of the look and feel of the site. So really, what are the goals and the purpose that the district has set? So, in thinking about that, a show stopping district website has to deliver on those results. It has to be purposeful in storytelling, and it must build trust by clearly communicating a district's vision and their mission. They should be supporting enrollment and long term retention. And there should also be intuitive navigation that improves satisfaction for their families, their staff, and their students, all while reducing that confusion and making sure that you're supporting the many requests of the district. I know you spent a lot of time talking about quick access to timely information and making sure that information is well organized for those families to help kind of reinforce that confidence, especially during key transitions and when things are urgent, when families are looking to find that information quickly. And all of these things have to happen in a mobile first experience because we have to remember our families are on the go, so having that mobile device, that tablet, it's important. It helps to promote equity and it ensures that every single person in your community and your family is able to engage with that information. And along that line as well, we know that when all of these different elements kind of work together, the website becomes more than a communications channel. Instead, it becomes a strategic platform that's going to allow you to drive engagement, it ensure that you're increasing enrollment and improving your family satisfaction overall. So let's dive into some of these stellar district examples that we have. We're going to start out today with Metro Nashville Public Schools. So they serve more than 81,000 students across over 160 schools. And that website was built while staying focused on clarity and connection. As you take a look at the homepage, it centers students with the message that every student known is supported by that modern layout. You're going to find strong visuals and clear call to actions. So the families, the staff, and the community members can easily find what they need. So whether they're new or even a prospective family, they've got easy access to that information. And as you begin to take a look at the interior pages of the site, you'll notice that the district prioritized usability through collapsible sections, there's clear navigation, and there's a prominent call to action that allows you to find important information around policies, programs, and services that the district offers. And because there's such a large district, this district took great time in developing an extremely robust school directory. So it's allowing the users to search by keyword, by a particular region of the district, or even by a particular school type. And it allows the users to quickly move to that individual school type seamlessly and easily. And one of the other things that I would highlight about this particular site is they've done a great job of highlighting the authentic voices of students and staff, and they show the district initiatives and how that impacts just the daily life. One of the last things that I want to highlight about this website is something that you don't see. They had a fantastic launch strategy in addition to the spectacular website that they put out. So, as part of their plan, they were using branded social media previews to introduce new features, to help build excitement and momentum ahead, and to help kind of support and drive that adoption before the site even launched. And we found that this approach helped to increase engagement, it helped to reduce friction for families, and it reinforced the trust at scale. And it demonstrated that the thoughtful design and storytelling helped to support the long-term district outcomes. So I'm going to hop over and talk about another fantastic site now, which is Eagle Mountain Saginaw ISD. So this district's new website reflects the pride and the culture of the excellence across the district. It serves as a welcoming front door. It highlighted commitment to educators. It showed off the personalized learning, and it helped to create a strong sense of community. As you take a look at the homepage, you're going to find that it blends storytelling with function. So the district news and the integrated social media platforms help to support real-time updates and achievements while reinforcing the district's focus on growth, belonging, and connection, those three pillars for the district. In addition, families and staff were easily able to quickly reach high-demand resources through a Find It Fast section of their website with intuitive icons. They had a streamlined menu and top-level quick links to keep essential systems such as their SIS, their calendars, their bus information, and much more readily at the palm of the hands of their families. And in addition to that, each campus site was able to maintain its own colors and personality while still maintaining and being part of the overall district design. And it helped to create some consistency, but yet being flexible to allow each school to be unique. In addition to that, they offered some customizable elements for the calendar that allowed users to be able to filter by school, by the athletics, the fine arts, whether it was district events, and they were all able to do these different things and download things directly through iCal. This district also was focused on what is happening with my, families that are part of the district today and our prospective families. So as part of it, they had a security component where they thoughtfully addressed what is the information that's only for students and staff. And they moved that info behind a secure password so that their focus with the public can remain on having transparency, having that clarity, and being able to demonstrate and show the great things that the district does. So in summary, you'll find that this district really demonstrated how that well-designed digital experience helped to strengthen the trust, to increase engagement, and to support the connection across the entire school community. So let's take a look at another district now. So as the sixth largest school district in the country, Broward County Public Schools required a digital experience that was built for scale and clarity. And I can say without a doubt that this 2025 website redesign delivered on both. So the homepage balances inspiration with function. There's lots of visuals that are utilized to showcase innovation and school pride while guiding users quickly to those high demand resources. And you could find that information such as the school menus, if you were looking for a potential career within the district, news, and even district-wide calendars. With the district website, I can tell you Broward County was very intentional with storytelling. They have a section that's called BCPS Proud, and it highlights your students, your staff, the community, while the newsroom provided consistent update that helped to support the transparency and the effective district communication. Not only did it do these fantastic things, but you'll find that accessibility was built into the experience. So with one click, there was multilingual translation, there were audience-based pathways that helped the families, the students, and the staff and the community members to be able to find all of that relevant information. And then they even thought about the parent on the go. And so it extended to a mobile app of BCPS Connect to deliver real-time updates and alerts that help strengthen the trust and engagement. So together, the district created this unified digital ecosystem that improved that family satisfaction, they increased their engagement, and they set a strong benchmark for a large district for websites in 2025. So let's hop across the country now and take a look at Sacramento City Unified's website. So this district reflects a clear commitment on empowering every student every day. And that promise shows up consistently in their design, their content, and the experience across the district and the school sites. The homepage provided an obvious path to enrollment. It is supported by timely registration reminders. Families quickly could find access to resources through simple navigation, and they had expandable content there, really making the site easy to use for new and returning visitors. You'll notice that there's an organic design element that included rounded imagery and soft green accents that helped to reinforce the themes of growth while keeping the focus on the essential information. There was also clear calls to action that helped to guide each audience to the next step, whether enrolling, applying, or exploring the district resources. You'll find that there's some consistency with the interior pages that followed that same structure of the homepage, and they had that seamless experience as users moved deeper into programs and services. And they worked to kind of share that template across the schools, again, with that focus of strengthening the district brand while allowing each campus to highlight its own stories and their achievements. So in summary, you'll find that the Sacramento City USD site helped to demonstrate how thoughtful digital design can help drive that engagement, support their enrollment goals, and overall improve the family satisfaction at scale. So we're going to take a look now at Kearney Public Schools. And this website highlights students as problem solvers and future leaders. And it's supported by a design that appears organized, it's inviting, and it's user-friendly. As I encourage you to take a look at that homepage, you're going to find immediately that it surfaces high demand information for those users, such as the community events and the district news and news across those schools. You're going to find sticky navigation and quick links to keep essential platforms easily accessible, such as the SIS, single sign-on platforms, and the LMS, all within reach. And while social media integrations also bring real-time updates directly onto the site from Facebook and other social media areas. In addition, the district really focused on their employment section. So their pages take a people-first approach by highlighting teachers and administrators through a staff celebration section, and it gives prospective families insight into the district culture and supporting recruiting as well as their retention needs. So Kearney Public School did a fantastic job on their design that really helped to increase their engagement, streamline their enrollment workflows, and improve the family satisfaction across the district. And for our last district spotlight, we're going to take a look at Warwick Valley Central School District. So Warwick Valley website provides a welcoming and practical view of the district life with the student growth and community connection directly at the center. As you view that particular website's homepage, You're going to see visually strong, and it performs extremely well on mobile. You're going to find full width panels and custom cards that easily adapt to smoothly kind of transition to those smaller screen size. And it's going to allow families to access their news, their events, and the announcements super quickly. And you're going to see that royal purple and yellow color palette helping to reinforce the district's brand across both the district and the campus sites. So the content is organized to support families with students in multiple buildings. You're going to find that visitors can easily filter updates by their school or view district highlights, all about making that communication clear and easy to follow. Another standout feature is their portrait of a graduate stories that highlight the values such as collaboration and problem solving, while the points of pride section presents key accomplishments in a single snapshot that helps to reinforce student engagement and the opportunity across the district. This district was fantastic with their design and really focused on how they support enrollment decisions and how they strengthen that family satisfaction across a growing community. So as I wrap up, the districts that I highlighted in today's webinar really set a clear standard for what an effective district website can achieve. So across each example, we saw how mobile-friendly design improves family satisfaction. We saw how thoughtful content organization and filtered updates help to increase engagement and help those families stay informed without really feeling overwhelmed. And there was a great focus on purposeful storytelling through pride stories and student highlights that help to demonstrate the great work that's happening in the district. So as you reflect on your own district website, I want you to consider how well it supports these outcomes. Is it easy for your families to use things on a phone? Does it guide families quickly to the information that they need? And does it tell your district story in a way that builds confidence and connection? So as you have those points to ponder, I'm going to kind of turn things back over. We're going to take a look at some great independent school sites.
Wonderful, thank you. And I love that note about family satisfaction and really thinking about the users. And just a quick note, and I encourage folks to visit these sites and look for some content or design examples to kind of serve your own inspiration. And we're going to be sure to share all these links out after the session today, so you can take another look or go back to any site to take a look around. But I want to pivot a little bit now to private schools, and they have something very specific to do. They need to build up that confidence quickly. They need to create that emotional connection and then be that bridge to the next step. And we see that families, they're comparing options and they're asking, is this the right fit? So private school decisions, they're personal, right? They have to feel human. They have to be supported by tools that can really make that experience smoother for their users. And families should really get a sense of what a normal day looks like and see themselves kind of belonging to that community. So I want to take a look at a couple of the schools that really nailed it. And Tata, I know you do a lot with independent schools, and so I wanted to see, can you take us through some of the sites that really caught your attention this year? And I know you had something to share about Shadyside.
I do. It's so hard to choose the best websites of 2025 because there are so many out there that they're the best, you know. But Shadyside is one that really stood out. It uses theme-driven storytelling built around motion, and learning in motion is an excellent differentiator for them. Like, clearly the students are actively learning by engaging in hands-on activities. And I encourage the audience to go to Shadyside's website right now, you know, like whether it's on your phone. I got my phone over here. So, you know, I could go on the websites that way. But like, the students they're not sitting at the desk for 6 hours, you know, and that's really differentiating Shadyside Academy to attract those mission fit families. And just looking at the video, the photos, the colors, the shapes, everything is portraying movement. In the video, there's the student drawing on with a crayon, and they're focusing in on the student's like facial expressions. Very diligent student there. The students are hiking in the woods. They're in a stream with a net catching things, and then they got their clipboards on the dirt forest floor, documenting about what they're learning about in nature. So awesome. And the typography is bold, and then it's highlighted in correspondence with their taglines and messaging. And there's a lot of layers in this design which elevate the story and help convey additional meaning and feeling to the story that their content is telling. Like, how the student, in one part of the homepage, the student is standing on one leg on a stack of books while balancing a book on his head. And you could see the student's shadow on the wall behind them. And then that's coupled with this fluorescent aquamarine colored zip ribbon shape. And they use that zip ribbon like in various variations and colors, around the homepage and around the website to convey movement. If anybody reads comics, you'll see like the zip ribbon when like there's a fight and they're like, punching each other or running, jumping and stuff. But it's really cool. And then there's a lot of scrolling effects baked into this design that create movement. There's parallax. The text is animated. It's like literally dropping into the page in certain parts, like rain or sliding into the page. And then the transitions have a lot of movement, and they smoothly connect different parts of the page together, as you scroll up, down. Another thing that really stood out to me about this site is that the interior pages are like just as awesome as the homepage. If you go to the admissions page, the alumni page, there's many interior pages here where, and that's key because prospective families, a lot of times they're entering your website through one of your interior pages, or they enter through your homepage and then, they go to an interior page. So those are some of the really awesome things, about Shadyside that really stood out to me, and I think that we could learn from. Boldness, I think, is a great, adjective for Colorado academies. They have bold visuals that demonstrate the boundless possibilities for the students at this school. You have that bold, deep red color, which contrasts really nicely with the dark black and the light grays throughout the site. At the top of the homepage, there's a side panel that you could click on for the news, social media, and events. And that slides out, and it really gives you a great impression of what their school community is like. And that really helps build trust. I mean, it's all about trust. Parents will be sending their kids, to school, and what's it going to be like, for those kids, for their children. So that's really good for trust building for prospective parents. But it also helps generate internal excitement. Parents who have children there, they see what their children are doing. The teachers who work there, they're, featured in that. And that internal, that internal excitement within the school's internal community, that spills over to the external community. And it's really helpful for generating positive word of mouth admissions referrals. As you scroll down, that section titled Discover the CA Difference is boldly designed, and it's really effective at getting prospective parents to dive deeper into what makes the school special. What's differentiated about the school? The embedded video uses silent autoplay, which helps get quick engagement on that video. So parents are pressing play and they're watching the video, to learn more about the school. The interactive campus map shows their amazing campus and all that it has to offer for the students. And then if you make it all the way to the bottom of the homepage, which, by the way, when we heat map pages, we see a decent amount of activity all the way at the bottom in the footer. It has really good calls to action that are appropriate for the next steps that a prospective parent might want to take. So, a prospective parent might be like, I'm ready to apply. Let's do this. Let's go through that application process. Or they might be like, you know what? I just want to inquire and I have some questions. And then tuition is always a big, question on the minds of prospective families. So that's a really good call to action too. And because Colorado Academy uses Finalsight's enrollment platform, the transition for parents to go from website to the inquiry to the application is more seamless, and the storytelling, is consistent from one platform to another. And the personalization you could do there is fantastic. And quick note how this school provides a Spanish translation of their site, which is just a great way to demonstrate accessibility and inclusiveness, and makes it easier to use for members of their audience who prefer Spanish. And they also use Finalsight's Audio Eye accessibility service, which helps by just actively managing the accessibility of their site by resolving a lot of accessibility issues that might come up in real time. And just a quick note, like if you're an independent school, private school in the audience, your homepage really shouldn't serve as the key place to go for internal communication. So notice how, Colorado Academy and Shadyside and a lot of the district sites, Janine, showed they're accomplishing internal communications on interior pages, like through a parent portal or a parent resource hub, or even through a mobile app. I strongly encourage all schools to provide a single mobile app, for your parents to use so that they could get all the info, all the links they need in one spot on your mobile app.
Perfect. I want to introduce a school, Paideia School. This is a really creative site that caught my attention this year. It really leans into their personality and their branding. They've got this animated snake that kind of works its way through the site as a visual connector between sections, but it's part mascot, part navigation cue, and part brand signature. So it's really, really great. They've got these image buttons, interactive photo layouts. It creates that motion and that engagement without really relying on too much heavy animation everywhere. And its interior pages, they really keep that same character in warmth. So this is a strong reference for the schools out there who are looking at a creative design, but they still want something that's easy to navigate and usable on a daily basis. That brings us to Eastside Catholic School. They've got this great opening sequence, a lot of great momentum that kind of pulls you right through that homepage experience. It leads with those visuals first, and then it supports that message for excellence and belonging. There's a lot of nice design work here. You have the brand colors doing a lot of work, framing content, highlighting actions, and creating that sense of continuity through the interior pages. And they've got this great transportation map also that really works as a differentiator on the homepage, and it calls attention to that regional draw and questions about commuting. And they've got some great landing pages for parents and alumni that's great for connecting with those different audiences. And they've got Ask AI, right? So if you land on their page, a user can ask questions, they can get those immediate answers. It's been trained on the school's publicly available information and training material. So users can interact with it in their native language anytime, day or night, and it's conversational. So it really understands a user's questions and the intentions behind it. So they get that sense of the school's mission and served up the best answers. I love how they're using it on their site. And then Girls Preparatory School, another great example here. They're leading with that confident identity and they keep that consistent. You see that framing, hers to explore, hers to pursue, hers to hold. That language shows up as kind of this thread across the pages and connects it back to this idea that it's really a school designed for her. It's very student-centered and very empowering. And I love the content there, how to raise a confident girl that helps families understand their programs and reinforce the values of the school. And then guess what? When it's time to take action, inquire, attend an open house, it's supported by final site enrollment there. And then again, it's really practical. You have the parents zone there that has all the resources for the parents, like attendance or directories. It's got a store for uniforms. It's really everything families need all in one place. And then this is hot off the press. Berkeley Carroll School, they launched just a couple weeks ago. This is a showstopper of a site. It's so good, it made me mad for some reason. I'm trying to work through those emotions. I wish I'd been a part of it in some way, but it really feels like an experience. And it's scroll led, it's animated typography. You have these transitions that really create that intentional pace from that first second. It really uses that motion to support their story with big visuals and those smooth transitions. They've got great storytelling with a portrait of a learner, and then they've got this news and events panel that flies out, and it really helps centralize those stories and those social posts. I just love what they did with their site. Hats off to you guys. So a quick checkup. Is your website doing its job? Can families go from curious to apply? Can you work it easily with a thumb and on your phone? Is it a good fit, right? You want to ask, or you want to understand if folks can get a sense of who this school is for, and does it make a great fit? And if any of these feel a little bit shaky, it's not necessarily a failure. It's a good roadmap to what to address first and start to close some gaps. So I know we're moving right along here. I want to pass it off to Meredith to talk about what makes a great international school website. And she's got some examples of how these international schools, they have to do a lot at once. They have to welcome families across different cultures, time zones. They have to explain complex programs and help people feel confident before they've even stepped on campus. So Meredith, I want you to take us kind of around the world in this few moments we have left and talk about some of the sites that got it right, right off the bat.
Fantastic. And that's a little screen grab there of Laysen American School. So Taryn or someone, if you could pop that in the chat, that would be great. They launched recently as well. What I love about our international schools is they really embrace their location, which I know a lot of schools around the world do that. But for instance, at Laysen, you're in the Swiss Alps or in mountains, embrace that. And it's just beautiful. So I love how creative certain schools get, and it's just a key selling point. So why not showcase it? For our schools, and perhaps for many of you as well, a lot of times the families or the faculty and staff never physically visit the campus until they're enrolled and they're attending the first day. So you do want to portray yourselves and, you know, the day in the life and the testimonials and any virtual tours and resources that you can really showcase online is still, you know, still relevant to today. But going into some of our favorites here, and like Anthony said, that it's really hard to choose, but we're going to jump in here with the International School of Brussels. And I love all of these examples. I'm so biased since they're all part of #Team Meredith, but we were just there on campus just 2 years ago for Final Site University, and we met in person, and we were sitting in the office looking at their new branding, and it was just updated with these vibrant colors. You can see from here, and if you visit the website, they really incorporated all of their new typography and the icons and the playfulness of these really bright and bold colors, that they kept their, you know, their identity and their strong brand and their colors of the red and the navy and the white. And then they just integrated these really bright and kind of show-stopping colors beautifully. So they really went pretty far and pushed the boundary because they wanted to, you know, kind of reinvent themselves online. And, you know, they have early years and lower grades that they felt weren't as represented before. So they added these wonderful elements. They worked closely with us and our design team, and shout out to Keelan Duffy, who really helped kind of bring their vision to life. And we just brought that brand playbook and we just incorporated it. I remember the printout, and we just said, okay, how are we going to do this smartly online? So as you scroll through, there's a lot of really cool animations and a lot of in-panel scrolling and all of the kind of top trends that we're seeing. And you can see from This featured panel here, I love it because it's personalized as far as from a testimonial from the students. You can scroll through and then to the parents and then alum. So they're really going through those demographics and personas. And as you go through the different events and storytelling effects and the carousels, and it just flows really nicely, and it just meets, you know, the visitor where they are. So there's definitely clear pathways, and it's very, you know, intuitive and user friendly. So kudos to them, and we love the elements there. Then we're kind of traveling a little bit in the other direction here to the United Kingdom. So one of our longtime customers here of St. Dunstan's. So shout out to Jordan and the team there. And this is wonderful because I was just looking this up to have it right, is that the college reopened in 1888, but they were first founded in 1446. So for a lot of us here, that's just astounding, the history, especially in different countries. But so this is definitely a modern design that respects a very long heritage. So it is classically modern, and I love that they are, you know, respecting the history and the growth that they've had. And as you scroll through, you get a really wonderful feel for what it's like to be on campus. And of course, the beautiful brick buildings. And as you're scrolling through the different video elements, I love the video-led homepage with the guideline. So you're just going through and, you know, just feeling a part of it, and you're retaining your visitors for a long time on the homepage. And especially in London and certain, you know, urban areas, of course, the public transport or the, you know, having a map and how easy it is to get places. We love when schools showcase their location and how you can get there for when you're visiting, or if your family's in town, or if you're, you know, I've never been there before, is it easy to fly in and out, or what have you. So they have a wonderful interactive map element that you can toggle through the different transportation options. So they really make it personal there. And then kind of, you know, last but not least, one of our also longtime customers is Singapore American School. They have a really strong and prominent brand. I was just saying to someone the other day, when you're on campus, the website matches the exact experience of the campus. You're walking through, and I feel like I'm in a virtual reality of that. I'm walking through the website because it's so amazing how it's just so interactive and engaging. So you're walking through the hallways, the big bold typography and the big colors and the color blocking of the red and the navy blue and the white, and their mascot, the eagle. Eddie the eagle is everywhere. It's just amazing, the Eagle Way, and they really embrace it. And they have such a strong brand that they decided to redesign, but they wanted to stay true to who they were, but then modernize everything. So they built the system around the Eagle Way. And as you go through with the motion and the big, bold visuals, and a lot of it has to do with your, you know, your photos and your video and how we can amplify that online. And they really leaned into that. We also love their Instagram account. So check out their Instagram, because they have wonderful real-time videos that just shows the living, you know, the real-time content. You feel like you're on campus there, but it's just through their Instagram video. Like, their team is so humble. They're like, oh, it's just a simple video, but I feel like I'm in the classroom participating in the PTA event there. They also have our Ask AI feature, and they named it Ask Eddie appropriately. So it's just having fun with their mascot, the eagle there. And it's great because, again, they're in Singapore, so they have a lot of folks in their American school. So folks looking to relocate or send their family there or work there. So time zones, again, kind of opposite parts of the world, that we can meet the families where they are and get and answer their questions real time. So this was a really wonderful piece to showcase.
Wonderful. And I love that idea of meeting families where they are, especially if you're engaging international families across different parts of the world. So thank you, Meredith. Those are some really great sites. I want to pivot now to charter schools. They carry a different kind of pressure, right? We see expectations being raised. We see more options for school choice. We know families have choices, so they're comparing options quickly. They're looking for that proof. They're looking for outcomes. They're looking for if the school is a great fit. So charter sites, they have to do a lot of these things very well. So I want to take a look at some of the sites that caught our attention from the charter world. First up is Sequoia Grove Charter Alliance. This is a great example of design plus mission plus structure kind of coming together, working as one. They actually don't have a physical campus, so the website is that much more important. It becomes that central connector for resources and their community, but still kind of providing that community feel. Take a look at that. It's a great example of how they've layered in communication and support for their current families as well. And then STEM School Highlands Ranch. it really starts strong with these opening questions because they're kind of playing around with what families come with in terms of questions, and they're ready to support that with engagement in those answers. So it moves quickly from problem to solution to that proof, and it makes that decision series so much smoother. It's really inviting, it's really direct. It's built for families who are kind of looking for that clear alternative, and that message stays consistent across its pages. So great job there. So again, ask yourself, charter schools, is it connecting with families? Is it educating them? Is it helping them take that first step and reach out? And I think that's what you're going to see a lot is in this year, thinking about how families are engaging with your site. So heading into 2026, think about, is it mobile friendly? It needs to feel mobile first. It really needs to incorporate that sense of accessibility. Yes, we have those requirements for districts coming a few months away, but when it's accessible, every user benefits, right? Families can feel like, okay, they've thought this through. They're thinking about my user experience. And the same goes for translation, right? If you're serving multilingual communities and international schools, you need to be able to support families with different language support. And then content. Right, we're always talking about staying current and that steady flow of content and being able to kind of provide that sense that your campus is alive and that there are stories to tell and your site functioning as the source of truth. And we wanted to think about this idea of self-service. People don't want to kind of go tracking people down for answers. And a lot of schools, they're just being asked the same questions again and again. How do I update my contact information? Where are these resources? How do I report an absence? So the best sites, they're going to reduce that friction and they're going to answer those questions quickly. And we see a lot of schools leveraging Ask AI in really interesting ways, helping families get those answers fast. Okay. So again, that goes toward that idea of safety and trust, creating that clear pathway for urgent information or resources, your website being a messaging tool. And there's that theme of confidence, a site that feels organized, current, and secure. And it's, again, becoming very quickly that service desk, people showing up with questions because they expect the answer to be easy to find. So I kind of want to wrap things up here. We have an offer for you guys, and that's a free trial of Ask AI. Again, this is going to be a helpful guide on your site. It's going to answer those common questions. It's going to point families to the right page. If you want to see it in your own environment, you can start a free 30-day Ask AI trial. It's going to be a great way to support families and lighten the load for your team. The setup is simple. It's not a big implementation project. You don't need a tech background to get started. You don't even need to be a final site client. You can run it on your current site. And once it's live, it's going to start helping right away. You can see those questions coming in. You can see what answers it provides and what resources it's serving up. Again, it only kind of taps into your publicly available information and what you trained it on. So it's a great way to start engaging your audiences in different ways for 2026. So I'd encourage you all to check it out and give it a try for yourself. And in the last minute we have here, I just want to encourage you all to be thinking about those goals we talked about at the start of this session. I wish you all the best. I hope we shared some inspiration for you all today. I think you're going to start hitting those goals very soon. Maybe not the 5K training, but Tate is going to be available for that. Just send him a DM, and he's going to get his tennis shoes on. But thank you to our amazing panel and our amazing guests. Thanks for spending time with us and for being part of the conversation. And we're going to send all these resources your way later. If questions come up, please don't hesitate to reach out and talk through any of your goals this year. If you want to see some more ideas for your site, please feel free to reach out. We're always happy to help. So thank you all. It was great to see you all, and have a great start to 2026.
Bye, everyone.